15th of we go. Now we're really recording. It's real life now. Okay, cool. We'll try that again. Good morning, everybody. It is somehow I woke up today
You feel okay?
more time. Who is not on mute here? Hang on a second. I'm going to mute everybody, sorry, just for the reason of not having any interruptions, which means, Corne, if you want to shout with anything, just unmute. Third time lucky. Good morning. It's the 15th of September, and I don't know how you are all feeling, but I'm realizing that the closer we get to the end of the year, the faster the pace is going. And I think these meetings for me on a Monday are really an integral part of just how I show up for the rest of the week. So I first of all want to commend everybody for making the time. I know it's not always possible and that we run multiple different things on a day-to-day basis. But I think if you really want to talk about being a success in your business and showing up as the best version of you, it's about allocating that dedicated time. So I get a couple of good moments to ponder on some of this context and to really understand where we've come from and where we are today. So, the first session we hosted in September, we spoke about bloom where you are planted and you will reap the rewards. And I just want to recap that for everyone, whether you were on the session or not. The concept remains that we do not need the most favorable or perfect conditions to become the version of success that we need to be. What we need to realize is where we are currently, as in, do we know our business? Do we know what challenges we're facing? Do we know what's in our favor? And we need to start working with what we already have. And this is really a mindset concept. This is honestly about looking at things for what they are, taking out the emotion of what they could be, what they should be, what they were, what they weren't, and really just starting to take action. There is no amount of motivation or no amount of Zoom calls that we can go through that are going to produce the results that we need to, unless we actually take the tool set and we go out and we work with that. So when we spoke about bloom where you are planted, we spoke about the lotus. And the lotus is one of the most resilient, beautiful plants. And it grows in the worst, murkiest, darkest, deepest spots. And if that's any sort of thing to or concept to work on or to continue to focus on in your business, is to know that there is always magic and possibility everywhere. And when we stop looking at the things that are challenging us and we stop letting them control what our action is to take, we start realizing how much more fun we can have in this business. And what I'm going to share with you today was a prime example. In the message this morning, I said to everybody, I'm going to share with you my 100,000 Rand plan. And I honestly just thought, oh, I'll quickly just take the images off of Facebook and I'll just pop them in the presentation and, we'll just chat it through. But what happened to me was when I was going through this plan, I remembered just how simple it was, because yes, it is actually that simple, and simple in the sense of, again, it's taking the action. But just the feelings that I had in prepping this and putting it all together in the energy that I had. I looked at photos from myself at that same specific time, and there was a different energy level. You could see it in my face. You could see it with the way that I was operating my business. You could see it how I showed up every single day. And that's why I say, no matter where you are personally or in your business, no matter what challenges, and I mean, I don't say no matter as in get over it, please. It's all relative, but don't let little things stop you from the progress that you are capable of making. Don't let that self-doubt or that voice, or I've tried it and it doesn't work, or I've tried it and my consultants aren't responding. Your greatest challenges, I will remind you, are often your biggest points to learn. They are teaching you something. They are asking you to stop and to investigate and to ask yourself more questions. When you are failing, it doesn't mean you are failing. It means you're being asked to pause and actually look and see what you can do different. So as we continue with today's session of plant the seeds and reap the rewards, you first got to understand where you are, because your harvest is going to come from where you are spending the most time and where you are spending the okay, cool. Sorry, I just thought that was something for the session. Is going to come from where you are spending your most time. So if you are where you are right now, stop looking over to the neighbor to see if the grass is greener. Stop wondering where the rain is going to come from. Start working with what you have and start growing on that. Because if you go back to the beginning, wherever your journey started, that's exactly what you did. You did what was required to get where you needed to be. It's as simple as that. And I think this morning I've woken up with a little bit more energy. I definitely had a much more restful this weekend on the couch than I did meeting up with all the honeys. And that's also where your planning and your strength comes from, is to understand that, we really do have so much opportunity ahead of us. And there really is so much we haven't gone back to or haven't begun. And when do we start? We start right now. So we're not waiting for a new month. We're not waiting for another Monday. We're starting with how we show up in the right mindsets to pass on the energy that we need to our team, because that's the only thing that's going to influence and inspire our people. Okay, so what is the purpose of today's session? Today, I want to speak to you a little bit about more of the mindset, but also into tracking habits. So, if we want to look at daily actions that are going to give us long-term results, we need to understand that there is a certain pattern in which we live, a certain process in which we follow, and a certain line to which we keep ourselves that gets us to where we need to be. And all of that is basically described as habits. Habits will either make or break you. And this is exactly what you've heard when it comes to gym, when it comes to meal plans, when it comes to business. And sometimes it's the smallest of our habits that we need to either learn or unlearn that can really propel our business to the next level. This goes as far as maybe you're just focused on doom scrolling and your time management isn't where it needs to be. So by the end of the day, you're tired, you haven't got through your to-do list, you haven't contacted all the people you said you were going to contact to. And you know what that does for someone? That deflates you. So when you look at your habits and you know what are you committed to, what are you not going to do, where are you going to spend your time, what you start doing is you start building long-term results through small actions. And I want to remind you as the leader that you are leading the team who's following what you're doing. So what you don't do, they're also not going to do. What you do, they are also going to do. So equally important, but how you present it to them is always in the form of how you show up with your energy and the habits that you instill in your business. Everything, every month, no matter what, will always be sales and recruitment focused. And if we're talking about habits, we're talking about skilling the right people within our business that they go out each and every day with the mindset that they are in business to sell, they are in business to share the opportunity, and together, hand in hand, that is how they will be successful. So I've created a little template. It is a nice, fun tool to have.
Okay, and there she goes. I wonder if she actually knows that she left us. Um, let's see. Okay, now she is completely gone. Okay, cool. I think the moment she'll sign up, we'll just continue with that. I think what is the most important thing at this stage is okay, yeah. Let me see where I'm jumping in. Okay. Um, I'm not even going to go continue on her presentation because I do not know what she's going to say next, so that's fine. I
Luckily,
just want to.
she doesn't. She's
Oh,
back.
she's
My
back.
apologies.
She's
My
back. Okay,
apologies.
there she goes. There she
I
goes.
just I had you all on mute, so I thought if I leave, then I'll know if someone was paying attention or not. So thank you. You all won. You all passed.
We passed the test.
Passed the test. And as I'll always say to you, I may be a millennial. I still hate technology. Doesn't matter. Okay, are we back and can we see the presentation? My apologies once more. Okay, so what I was talking about is planting the seeds is you've got to be very, very aware of where you are planting your seeds. You're not just cutting open a packet, throwing it up into the air and saying, well, I really, really hope that this produces the most amazing line of bushes, of veggies, of fruit. There is strategy in everything you are doing. So when we talk about this concept of planting the seeds, talk about strategy into your business. When am I going to plant the seeds? How am I going to plant the seeds? Have I read the instructions on the packet that tell me how often these seeds need to be watered? Or am I just going to, kill them dead with all my love and kindness and, in fact, overwater them? Because if you look at your seeds, that is the moving parts of your business. It means, what am I spending my time on? How often am I going to spend my time on? What am I possibly not going to do because I know that that time can be better invested elsewhere? A successful entrepreneur is basically just somebody who's really great at time management. It means that they can juggle multiple things, but that they show up for everything that they put together in their business. And that's what you've got to be asking yourself. Another good example is if you are not a strong person on social media right now and your sales are not where they need to be, social media is not going to drastically change your sales in 1 month. I'm the first person to teach the social sparkle. You know, I love my social media, but the reality is if my earnings are at stake and I haven't got the sales I need to get across the finish line, what can I do now that I can immediately water now that by month end I can reap this harvest of sales? And if it's not social media, what is it? It's probably face-to-face connection. It's probably connecting with more people. It's probably getting out of your home office, going to coffee shops and having the most wonderful time. Guys, I'm having so much fun. And I often want to just shout at myself and be like, yeah, but you know how easy this was. This is exactly the business. We've forgotten to plant the seeds. We've forgotten to start the conversations. We've forgotten to go back to people who know us, who love us, who see us, and actually say, just by the way, do you realize I have a business opportunity? People look at you differently when you present what you do. And it's important when we're planting our seeds in every conversation. This was the biggest selling point. Before we told anybody about our dogs or our kids or our or our accolades, we told them about the business that we were in. And if we didn't tell them, they saw how we looked, they saw our social media, they saw some of our branded cars. So those seeds were constantly being planted. Eventually, some of our family members probably forgot our names and just knew how to call us honey. And I was okay with that, as long as they referred me to the right people for my business. And that's the spark and the planting the seeds that we need to go back to, is we literally need to eat, sleep, breathe our brand and our business again. We've always done it. We've done it with such vigor. We've done it with such excitement. And I think after the Hearts of Honey events, to realize just how much is laying in front of us in terms of opportunity, it's such an empowering thought that there is a brand new beginning. But the brand new beginning will take longer if we don't start planting the right seeds. So there's 16 days to go of this month. Crazy, but true. And I want to ask yourself, as you're sitting here listening to this call and reflecting, where are you going to plant the next seeds? What is your biggest pain point in your business right now? Look it dead in the eye. If it's sales, it's sales. Kry klaar, it is what it is. But don't sit or hide under the cupboard from it. Now, you see, I can do my Afrikaans also, Steph. I know, I've been practicing. Check. That's about it. The other words are not for this call. Um, It's about looking with that struggle point in the eye and start working on that plan. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You're never going to get to month end and consume the entire elephant and feel satisfied. You're going to feel rather sick. Start today, start now, plant the seeds in the right direction. Know your strengths, understand your pain points, and look them dead in the eye with focus and determination to say that I will conquer this. When you are in the right mindset, when you have arrived with the right energy, you can motivate and inspire your team. But if you are still unsure about where your target is right now, if you are still unsure about if you believe in the product or the business or that you are passing that on to your team and they are only duplicating your efforts. So planting the seeds is really important because your team is a mirror of where you are planting the seeds. And I want you to keep that in mind. I'm going to say it again. Your team is the mirror of where you are planting your seeds. They will quickly tell you if your seeds are in a line, if your seeds are all scattered, if you're praying for some seeds and not for other seeds, if there's water or if there's no water. Your team are giving you the direct feedback of where you're planting your seeds right now. What are you doing with it? Pain points are great teachers. Don't hide from them. Don't try and discourage them. Look them dead in the eye and say, okay, cool. This is my biggest challenge. What am I going to do about it now? The second part of the session is then talking about your daily habits for sales growth. Guys, sales is a habit. There's nothing other than that. It's not luck. It's not anything more than a habit and a sequence and a process. That's why we talk about know your numbers. If I go back to any session I ever left, even if it wasn't the sessions that I was training, I always left with a know your numbers form of something. It was either a template for a business plan or someone had either explained a new way to get to 2,500 Rand or to 10,000 Rand. So know your numbers became something drilled into my head. And what that did for me is it gave me the power to go and break down my targets, even as small as a sales consultant. So again, I want to say to you, it's been 2 months of us really refocusing on know your numbers. Don't expect to launch a target to your team in the beginning of August and for them to be excited about achieving it if you haven't kept the momentum alive. Again, go back to your value and your core mission of your business. If your business is a business and you want to operate it like a business, does your team know that you expect targets, that you're going to give them updates? Are you driving the same behavior for which you have the vision for your business? So sales focus, what are your daily habits that have to happen? And what are the daily habits that you can duplicate through your team? It's not enough to tell them what to do. You have to go out and show them. And that's where your social media has the tool to duplicate your efforts. Social media is just basically a microphone and a mirror of what you are doing. What you should be seeing on social media is you yourself at a coffee shop talking to someone else, whether it's their face, their hand, with a little bit of your product, and literally posting there and saying, today I met the most amazing lady who's going to join my business. That is it. People want to see real life. They don't want to think that, oh, it's just another scheme that I can log on. I'm probably not going to deal with a human. I'm probably going to deal with AI. They can only see what you post there. So make sure that it is reflecting the habits that you are out building for your business. We need to stop waiting for the WhatsApp promotion line. And yes, I love the speed at which everything is coming out. I think we can only but applaud head office for finally getting, not finally, but I mean, after the 2 years of a challenge, is to getting some steady flow, is to getting some great branding out there, getting useful tips and training tools and those videos. That is part of what's going to build your brand, but it's not going to make the sale on its own. What are you doing in your team every single day to be focused on a product? Whether you decide to do collagen on a Monday or whether you decide to do handbags on a Monday, we need to bring focus back to the thing that sells in our business. What are you going to talk about? What are you going to share on it? What are you going to leave your team with so that they feel empowered about that product? DNA has done the most amazing revamp on our website under the business development section. Get to know your business is all the single feature product information notes you need on handbags, on watches, on accessories. So go back and use those resources when you are chatting to your team. The work has already been done for you, but it's about plugging in those tools when you are having a conversation to give that topic depth and to give it some support as well. And this is where you need to start planning a little bit in your business, is to say, okay, this week, as we're leading past the mid-month line and we're getting to month end, what is going to bring me sales? Products. Products is going to bring you sales. Okay, great. So what am I going to do with product? Well, number one, I need to talk about it. So let's start with one product. Let's start with handbags. So Monday, I'm going to do handbags. Wednesday, I'll keep with the Wednesday wellness. And Friday, I'm going to do something else. Where energy goes, or where focus goes, energy flows. Let me try that again. Where focus goes, energy flows. So whatever you are focusing on, that is where your team is going to focus on. We cannot simply send out the get the looks or the one images every single day and expect to be running a sales focused business. Sales is an energy, sales is a currency, and it is a stack of habits that you build every single day to get the momentum and to achieve your sales targets. Personally, we need to be doing more personal work ourselves. We are not in the position to be sitting back and saying to our consultants, cheers, this is the target, 20,000, there's 10 of you, 2,000 each, go. We need to start building up our personal client base as well, because go back to your success formula. Some of your best friends joined after many years of saying they weren't going to join. I know this, it all happened to me as well. And they became your best consultants as well. Some people in your family and in your friends have never joined your business, and maybe this is the perfect opportunity for them as well. But 2 people a day for us as leaders should be absolutely less than nothing to connect and to go out and speak to people. And start doing it when you go out to your coffee shop, to your supermarket. It's not always about the first person that you speak to. It's about the impression that you leave with them and what they say to other people as well. If we want a referral business, we need to immediately set ourselves up for referrals from the very first interaction. And that's always got to be in how we speak about our business. When I'm talking about the business opportunity, I'm not just saying to that person, you could. I'm also saying, don't you know anybody else, a sister, an aunt, someone in a separate town that also would like this opportunity? Who's good at sales? Who loves fashion? I'm building as I'm having a singular conversation, because that is a habit for sales growth. One thing that I am enjoying about working with another one of the direct selling companies at the moment, you guys know them well. I'm not going to mention their names yet, but they're in the skincare industry. And one thing they've never stopped doing is they still book weekly demonstrations. Now, obviously for skincare products and stuff like that, that's quite important. Someone's going to want to feel the texture. Someone's going to want to feel feel the smell. Listen to me. Someone's going to want to smell the product. They book demonstrations because they go to where the people are at. And I want to say it's no different for our business. Where are we showing up with our products? What happened to our teas for 3? That's all we used to do. We used to even just use the handbag that we were carrying. We used to just puff it up a little bit, put it down with a little WhatsApp add me card, with a little flyer, and that became the centerpiece for the conversation that we were having. You've got to start looking a bit more strategically, as in planting the right seeds in your network where you're going to leverage off of those relationships. That is all direct selling is. It's leveraging off of the people that you've met to give them an opportunity, but in turn to be rewarded. Start thinking about who are some really influential people in your friends group. Two people that have never met. Have a tea for three. You'd be surprised what comes from business sessions like that. People love to sit at tables where the discussion is the right discussion for them. So start creating those coffee connections. Start creating a spot where people can show up and talk about any aspects of business, but when they leave, they know who you are, what you offer, and how they could potentially introduce you into another network. All your conversations and your commitments need to be tracked. If you want to be a success when it comes to really nailing every person you connect with, it's about walking around with your little book if you're like me. Yes, I told you I'm the non-technology millennial. But write down, coffee shop, I spoke to Agnes. Okay, she wants to recruit. Cool. Because I don't know about you, but there's so much going on at the moment. When it comes to Friday, I'm like, oh, I met that lady, that lady, that lady. Like, what was her name? That lady has the potential to bring me sales, but if this lady can't remember that lady's name, we got a problem. You see what I'm saying? So, and it also helps in the way that you communicate. We have forgotten how important it is to individualize and to personalize our communication. So imagine sending a message saying, "Hey Agnes, it's Taryn. I so love meeting you." I'm talking to a human. I'm building human connection. I'm building relationships. That is what we need to do. What are your daily habits for recruitments? And again, habits that you, the leader, need to do is every single day you should be sharing the opportunity. Every single day. No, it's not too much to ask. It's actually the bare minimum, and it is your job. Imagine that. Sharing the business opportunity is so simple. We know how to do it because guess what? If we didn't believe in it when it happened to us, would we be sitting here on this call? I don't think so. And I spoke a little bit for those of us that were at Honey Heart, and there will be sessions to follow up this. I'm gonna chat through how we're gonna launch that content. But I spoke about showing people what their worth was on meeting them. And the silly example was the cashier. When last did you have a conversation with the cashier who is packing your groceries up, that only knows of her 9 to 9 checkers job, that is desperately dying for some other opportunity, but nobody ever looks at her. She's just the cashier. She's just packing my groceries. She's just got to do what she needs to do. What if she was just your next number one consultant? Because that's how we found them. We found them by speaking to them genuinely and honestly. Look at some of those ladies. They are gorgeous. The lashes are done. The makeup is done. I mean, sometimes they look better than I do, and I consider myself ready for the day. It's quite scary. And that's about talking to them and saying, do you love fashion? Do you know these people? How, can I introduce this opportunity to you? When we walk and talk about it, the opportunity follows us because the next time you go into the shop, she has told Auntie this one about you and Auntie that one about you. And so when they point at you and you walk in the store, I don't think it's because you messed yogurt on your top. I think they might think you're the honey lady. So just use that and go with it. It's the best option. And if there is yogurt on your top, wear a longer necklace. It will cover it. Um, Invite prospects to information sessions. We have stopped hosting business opportunity sessions and we had them down to the T. I was chatting to somebody about COVID. Do you remember how many Zoom sessions we did in COVID? I will tell you that it was over 186 just in that small period. Ask me, I know. But we had Zoom after Zoom. Then the next one went off to a business opportunity. Then this one had a business opportunity. This one, because we were competing for people's time as we are now. So the sooner we could deliver the message, the sooner we could get somebody recruited, the sooner we could get them onboarded, the sooner they could go out and focus with the energy that they already had. So when you are looking at your business, please make sure that we are talking about the business opportunity. My biggest strengths are how easy it is to get into the business, free registration, you're on a WhatsApp team. And my second one is I will support you. I will be there the entire way to show you what to do. From your first order, from how to get started, I'm there to help you. That is what I want someone who contacts me or I go out to feel the minute they walk into the business, that they've come into an opportunity, they're going to know exactly what it's about, but they're going to know where to start. Go back to the basics. Go back to explaining the obvious. It's not as complicated as people think, and we need to show them how simple it is. And then again, I had so much fun with some of the challenges that I sent this week. And I also want to take the chance to just say thank you to everyone who is completing them. I know that when you're busy and you're rushing and you feel like, oh, geez, just Taryn with her nonsense again. But that nonsense is actually the chance for you to stop and reflect. And every time we go back to a throwback Thursday or just some memories of Facebook. How was it possible that on Thursday, that was exactly those many years ago? It was that day. And when you look at how far we've come and all the things we've done, and that's why we are still in this business. That's why we fight. But I go back to why we did those events because there was success in sharing our story. And that's going to be part of my 100,000 Rand plan, which I'm going to move on to next. And then I want to say in our business, in our industry, in anything that is sales, the faster you can follow up, the faster you can catch your fortune. If you are going to follow up 2 weeks later with somebody who was looking to buy, looking to join, they've moved on, they've probably forgotten they even clicked on the link and they actually don't know who you are or why you're messaging them. So make sure that your office process and your habits include a good turnaround to build communication and engagement as well. Consistency has been something we have said in every single session. It's going to be something we're going to say in every single session going forward. And it is the blueprint for your success. That's why I say there's loads of things to work with. Choose what works for you and ask yourself before you implement them in your team, can I show up consistently for this? Can I deliver this consistently? Because if you can't, you are teaching your team a culture not to expect what is guaranteed. And that is a huge, huge, huge issue when it comes to a sales business. Consistency builds trust. You need as much trust as you do with your clients as you do with your consultants. It also inspires your team. When your team sees you constantly showing up, no matter how you feel, no matter what you're going through, we become a beacon of hope. And Corneille worded this so beautifully in Hanike's award was actually, it was the symbolism of sometimes we lose everything else in our lives, whether it doesn't matter what it is. How often have we gravitated back to our business as the one thing that got us out of a dark place, that contributed in a way that gave us purpose, that gave us meaning? I know for a fact that was probably 8 years of my life was my business was everything. It was my whole identity. Probably not the right way to have done it, but we live and we learn. But I had that much commitment and that much consistency in it that the relationships I were building was so much easier to build because they could see who I was from the beginning. And that's the consistency that we need to implement into our teams as well. Leaders have to model the habits they want to see. If you run a meeting and you are late, don't expect your consultants to arrive on time. If you say you're going to launch an incentive and you don't expect your consultants to get excited. We really have to go to the small daily habits that we sometimes are rushed or, oh, oops, I forgot, or those things just don't cut it when we are trying to build consistent relationships with the people in our business. So I spoke to you at the beginning of the session about a habit tracker challenge. And this is actually something that we coach on in neurolinguistics as well. So I'm going to do a little bit of the neuroscience side of it just because we can. And then also just to make sure you understand how fun this can be in your business. Anything you track in your life in terms of your daily gratitude or in terms of committing to 5 minutes of journaling or 5 minutes of meditation, you are building a block in your brain that says this time is for this specific task. And you're also allowing your brain to say, after this specific task, I'm going to feel a certain way. So when we talk about habit stacking or a habits tracker, we're looking at small, consistent things that we can do every single day. So I'm not talking about changing my diet today and also fitting into new clothes today and also making sure I drink 5 liters of water today and getting my whole to-do list done today. Because can I tell you, you will actually achieve none of that when that's what it looks like. You're looking at, okay, this is my end goal. What do I start with? Okay, I'm going to up my water this week. If this week I can just do my 3 liters every single day, I'm stacking habits. Next week, water's out the way. I'm doing my water. Now I'm going to walk every second day. You've got to stack your habits if you want to build them consistently. You cannot look at everything and say, okay, today 360, I'm a new person, let's go. It's not sustainable, and your brain needs time to rewire what the new process is as well. So they always say 21 days is good for building a new habit. So we're calling it either the 21-day challenge or the 21-day habits tracker. And the concept is you go back and it's a reflection exercise. So it's a daily commitment, but it's also a reflection exercise. Is you track your daily actions in terms of sales and recruits. And then you have the accountability of sharing what you achieved that week. Again, I want to say to you, we've already been doing these things in my silly little WhatsApp messages. By going back and sharing your Wednesday wins, you are also training your brain that whatever output you have given, there has been a result. And what that does is it rewires intrinsic motivation. It gets rid of those feelings that keep you stuck when you don't want to do something. It tells your brain that if I do this, there will be a reward, which means your brain doesn't have to fight as much to get a task done. It actually looks at it and says, this plus this equals good, so I'm going to go and do it. We're rewiring our brain to get into habit stacking. And then at the end of the month or the end of the 21-day challenge, it's to look back and say, okay, These are the efforts I put in. This is the result that I got. What worked, what didn't, what do I carry on with? That is all a plan is. But if you don't start with the initial plan, you've got nothing to go back on to see what you've built. So this is the templates of the habit tracker that I'm going to send out to everybody. So I'll give you this one as an example. And then there is a blank one that you can, I just want to close my camera because I can see too many pretty faces. Sorry, I need to see the screen. Can't see. Okay. So this is just an example, day 1 to day 21. What is the sales action? Is to share catalogs with 2 people. What is the recruitment action? To share the business opportunity with 1 person. Completed or not completed. It is as simple as that. My suggestion is pretty much it's the same as our call to action calendar in August, was to show people what they can be doing differently. I think this is a great opportunity to just send the whole thing out and say, over the next 21 days, this is all you need to do to get to your business. Let them choose which one they want to go first. If they feel like they want to book a showcase first, or they want to go and have coffee with someone for recruitment, they can go out and they can do that. But the idea is they know X amount of effort is going to equal X amounts of results. When we go back to SMART goals, because remember last month we focused on SMART goals, this is a time-bound exercise. This means if I stick to this 21-day habit tracker, I am guaranteed after 21 days to see progress, to see a result. There is no way on this planet that you cannot see progress after not doing this, but I mean consistently. Not today I do something, tomorrow I don't feel like it, or I followed up with that customer, but I didn't place her order. A habit tracker is, did I start the exercise? Did I complete the exercise? Complete means done. And what you want to do with this is you want to start showing your teams that the success that they want in their business is also based off of their consistency. Our consultants have lost a little bit of their focus on their business. It is also becoming peak season in terms of year end. I don't know if you can feel it, but the energy has definitely shifted. People are picking up the pace. It's the last quarter of the year. If you want to compete for people's time, give them something that is fun. Please, please, please don't forget the fun. We need fun. We need that fun to build our engagements, but also give them something that applies to not only their honey business, but their life. Anybody who wants to see a difference in every aspect of their life can simply apply a 21-day habit tracker towards that goal. And if you're really stuck with it, you plug it into ChatGPT and you say, I want to become more fit. Can you build me 21-day habits to help me increase my fitness? Imagine it will do this for you as well. So it's about the tools. It's always about the what can I use to change where I want to be. It's not about knowing more, it's about doing more. And without the tool, there isn't too much you can do more of. So the 21-day habit tracker, I'm going to put on the WhatsApp group when we are done with the call after we've sent the recording. And my suggestion is, if this is something that you are going to share with your team, always, always, always give them clarity on what it's for. Give them the bigger picture. It's not just about their business. It's about them building a sustainable life around their business as well. So, plant those seeds again. When you go and fetch your kids from creche, when last have you spoken about your honey business? When you go and put petrol in the morning after dropping the kids at school, when last have you spoken about your honey business? Where focus goes, energy flows, and we need to build those habits again. Consistency will be the only thing to create momentum. Think about a ball rolling. If it rolls inconsistently, it's never ever going to catch up to any speed other than when it starts and stops. And that's what you're doing. Your business is the snowball, and the more you push it forward and the more consistently you do it, the more momentum it can build until it becomes a huge snowball and it's taking everybody around with it. Okay, so that was the habit tracker. At Heart of Honey, we spoke about, again, habits, and I wanted to pull the slide back into it because we did 2 simple business plans. We were actually chatting about the travel incentive qualifying business plan. And when you do these business plans, Corné and I did them about 6 times each. And then I said, well, I don't trust her numbers, and she doesn't trust my numbers, because how can it be this simple? And when you look at the plan, that's exactly what it is. But what we do wrong is we look at the big number, and our overstimulated brains go into fight or flight mode, and they go, oh, I can't do it. Can't do it. It's too much. I can't think of it. Break down the business plan. So business plan 1 was to say, if you want to achieve your next travel incentive for the next financial year, the minimum qualifying sales is 1.2 million. Now let's just look at that as if we have started from day 1 and break it down. 1.2 million divided by 12 months in a year is 100,000 Rand per month. Funny that we should be talking about 100,000 Rand business plan today. If I want to get 100,000 and I have got 25 active consultants, small business, definitely not where we should be playing. We can definitely grow more than that. But if that is all I was working with, that is 4,000 Rand sales per month per active consultant if I had 25. If I take that 4,000 Rand sales and I divide it by our average unit price, which is just 250 Rand, that means those 25 sales consultants only need to sell 1 unit a day for 16 days of the month. Now, that just shows you how simple it is. That doesn't even mean they're out there focused on their business every single day. 16 days of a whole month selling one item of 250 Rand. 250 Rand is your crazy, is your bread and milk these days. That's what it feels like. But 250 Rand is an affordable option. That is your repeat customers. That is your starting entry. That is so many people that can afford to purchase the product, but we haven't showcased the business plan like that. Now, if you want to dream bigger, or if you want a bigger team, or if you want to get to your goal easier, it's a numbers game. Say, for instance, you had 40 active consultants. So again, it's the same 1.2 million. It's the same division over the 12 months. But instead now your monthly average of 100,000, you're dividing by 40 active consultants. That brings each consultant down to 2.5. Now let's go back to 2.5. It is the basic business plan for our consultants. It's in the consultant's journey. It's in how we train. It's in how we pick our 10 products and show them how easy it is to sell for 2.5. But we've gone off the way in showing the how. How is more important than why. When someone can see how to do something, their why will appear. But if all they know is why to do something and they can't do it because they don't know how, the task is never going to be done. So business plan 2, 2,500 Rand sales divided by your 250 Rand average unit price. That's 1 unit a day over 10 days. I'm asking my consultants to show up for 10 days of the month. Now, if they are not doing that, it's because number one, they don't know how, and number two, they don't understand this business plan. But you cannot tell me by looking at that that you don't also think like, this really could be done. With intention and with habit stacking, these are plans that we can roll out, but we've got to be consistent in them as well. And then I want to say to you is, okay, let's get into the next section first. I wanted to share this little section in ending of today's session was the 100,000 Rand business plan. And this is part of my story that I shared at Heart of Honey was I found myself very early on in my team leader career sitting in one of the top performing regions and not understanding why month on month I was just scraping the barrel at 25,000 Rand and why everybody else was over 100,000, over 200,000, over 300,000. And my little brain just could not compute that this was actually possible in this business. And that's where the issue started. So I'm going to take you back to my vision board mapping for my plan and why I still believe in it and why I know it's something that we should all jump on in our own right is because it's the basics of this business and it goes back to talking to who we are in the business, what our dreams and goals are, and how we rally up the support of our community. Because I've been very, very fortunate. I've never, ever, not once, ever had to pay for advertising to advertise a business that I was in. Not my dancing studio, not my honey business. I've never, guys, I will tell you the honest truth, I've never done a paid advert for myself. I've done it for multiple clients and I've done it for multiple people, but I've never done a paid advert. And when I had to go back and understand why, it's because I do understand the value of community and I speak to my community in a way that shows them who I am and where I want to go. And that's just the thing about community. Genuine community wants to see you succeed. So when you are vulnerable enough with them and when they know enough of your story, they will support you better. And that's where the story begins. So go back to that day. It was a September meeting. It was a regional meeting, and we were all chatting about our September, October, November targets. But before we could get to targets, everyone had to go around the room and had to tell what they had finished August with. Now, remember, in those days, August was a power month. It was the launch of Ultimate. It was Women's Month. That was very high energy in our business. So these results were mind-boggling. And I remember everyone going around and I heard 300, I heard 400, I heard 200, and I was the only person that was less than 100. And I was so far less, I was like on 27. And I think for the rest of that session, I did not hear a single word that the regional said. All I did was every time one of the team leaders spoke, is I made notes on what they said and I mapped out a plan. I listened to how they went out, how they built businesses, how they did their communication, and I built this plan. And by the end of that regional meeting, I took absolutely no notes of what the meeting was about. I think I probably had to ask Kaneki or Corne what it was about, but I had a plan. But what I also had was I had excitement because I finally identified myself as someone who was going to chase what the big dogs were chasing. And in my, I will say, immature wisdom at that point, I ran over to Gary and I told him about this plan. And he said to me he wants to see it drawn up and I'm going to send it to him. So cool. I drew up the plan. Well, he was very impressed with the plan, and I did mention this that he sent it on to the whole company. And I wanted to absolutely fall over and plutz because now there was no way that I could not do this plan. Because remember, at that point, I was already doing national sales. So I was phoning some of you, having conversations, and some of you were asking me, so how's it going? So the accountability was there from the beginning because I'm now helping you with your sales, but I've launched this massive goal. And that is honestly what drove me to getting to this point. And I want to say to you that accountability only looks scary when you're trying to hide something. Accountability is a powerful tool, whether it's in a person, whether it's in a team, whether it's in your passion. When you are accountable to something, it honestly will guarantee the results that you want. And I'm very grateful that I was forced into accountability that year. One thing I want to say to you that I would love to encourage everyone to do more is to start owning your story again. One thing I always did from the beginning was I always told people about this journey because I was constantly faced with my friends who had studied the bigger degrees, who had done the bigger things, looking at me going, oh, she's working for like this custom jewelry place. Like, is she going to be successful? Like, how is she always traveling? Like, my journey didn't make sense to people. So when I broke my journey down and I started telling people why I believed in it so much, I found that I could resonate with way, way more people. And for the people who didn't understand, they finally did, so they could then talk about what my opportunity was. I've always said that my hashtag and my byline is opportunity is there to help you overcome circumstance because that is what this business did for me. I have always been vulnerable enough to share about where I come from a financial background, why I needed this opportunity so much, what my responsibilities were. And instead of being a victim to all of those really hard and dark things, it became the victor in my story. It became showing people that doesn't matter what your circumstances are, doesn't matter what your surroundings are. It doesn't even matter if your life is telling you that you are destined to be a certain way. When you see opportunity and you grab it with both hands, you can overcome just about any circumstance with it. So I want to encourage you to go and map out your journey. Go back to when you were a consultant and go and spend some time writing down year on year what you did from your first travel check to your 15th overseas trip to how many top 30 positions you have. Go and build your honey journey and start telling the story back to your teams, back to your network, and give them an understanding of what it means to be part of legacy business. Because legacy is in the work we have already done. We are shaping the future and what we're about to do now. But legacy only lives when we talk about it, when we showcase it, and when we bring people into our story. And you'll often see people resonate with people more that are vulnerable enough to share their story and that are there to say, listen, I also had really crappy circumstances. This is the opportunity that I used to change my life. I'm here. I can help you. I can show you this is my journey. You will have a lot of fun reflecting. This is an important part of your journey, but most of all is go out and start telling people your story. The world needs more of your inspiration and your story than they do of the negativity that's going around. And there are still people that we have not yet assisted with this business. And that is our job going forward. So by telling my story, I built myself a good, credible audience that trusted me, that was watching what I was doing for the right reasons, that were cheering me on, and that were building up that little bit of confidence I needed to take that big step. Telling your story gives you power when you own your story. And in people supporting you, creates little channels of connection where people can resonate with you. And that's why this business works. People resonate with different people and people buy from different people. And they do that in the relationships and the connections that we build. So after I've told my story and after I've told everybody who I am and why I believe in my business so much and what I'm going to achieve is I set up the personal plan. Because again, a leader has to lead and a leader has to show people how it's done. So I did a personal business plan for myself. And I said, my ultimate goal is to get my team into the 100,000 Rand club. Please help me make this happen in October. So remember, it was the October year that I went for this. Woo! Face wash. Sorry. How can you help me? Again, if we go back to Social Sparkle, what are the two things you need to focus on? Influence and engage. Influence is by instruction. You must click here. You must tag 2 friends. You must like. You must follow. We've got to tell people what to do in order to engage with them and inspire them. So I grew my client database. I started punting heavily to my personal clients, and I started making sure that any special that wasn't special is what they got first. I basically went into full-on consultant mode. And what that did was it showed me how much energy is required, but it also gave me a clear picture of what the pain points were when it comes to a consultant, whether it was on sold out, whether it was on a packing error, it doesn't matter what it was. It gave me good clarity on what my potential problems could be. From then on, I was able to then build training pieces for my consultants. So as I was growing and molding and building my personal database and handling their orders and that, I was gaining incredible insight on how to tell my consultants to go out and do the same thing. Because again, if there's anything I believe in, the most important thing is teaching people the how, not the why, the how. I then also made sure my social media was always up to date. And with the tools today, you can literally schedule your posts for a whole month in advance if you need to. The idea is that whenever someone clicks on your social media pages, that you are relevant, that you are active, and that it makes you look like you are in business. I ask them to share anything that they see and my contact details. I also ask them to gather orders on my behalf so that they could be rewarded. And remember, I didn't go down into fine detail here. I didn't say orders of 500 Rand will get you 16% off, but if it's a non-discountable, I made it simple and attractive. So the person who was reading this said, oh, I can share this. Okay, this is fine. I can post this. It's done. Refer 5 friends to me. I'm not asking you to do anything other than, yeah, speak to this person. Tag me on Facebook. I will do the rest. And then I said the most important thing that I ever said was consider me for your corporate gifting ideas. There's a part in my business for you. Guys, if I was awarded one of those fragrances at a year-end function, I would be blown over. Those bottles still catch me every single time. It's such a high value gift for the price that we need to pay. And that's what we need to be having the discussions when we are speaking to corporate. And corporate doesn't have to be 5,000 people. Some corporates are a little 30 company business, and they love Proudly South African, and they've been looking for someone Proudly South African to support. So go out and do that. I know Claire posted in the group the other day that she was reconnecting with her corporate clients because that's where she's got a big business plan. And I want to ask you, when last did we look bigger than our consultants and our communities to actually go out and showcase our business as well? So once I'd set my personal plan and I started working with the connections and the relationships I already had, I then set the team plan as well. The number didn't change. Nothing else changed except what am I asking you in my team to do to get us to 100,000 Rand. So on my personal social media, they can see the leader, I'm going, this is me, tagging all my friends, doing the work. I'm showing the way. When I get to my team, I'm saying, guys, this is a team effort. This is one big goal for all of us. What can you do to help? So again, simple, nothing's changed. Share your promotions daily. Build your client database daily. It doesn't help if my consultants are still selling to the same customers. That's not going to get me to 100,000 Rand. What is going to get me to 100,000 Rand is when they know the power of finding new people, of sharing the opportunity, when they have gone through the 21-day habit tracker. I built friendship consultants. So I went back to my team and introduced or reintroduced or retrained, whatever you want to say, the concept of friendship consultants. It's having friends who have access to other networks that don't necessarily want to join your business, but have no issue in sharing promotions for you, gathering orders, and you can come to an agreement that you want to reward them. Share honey wherever you go. Go back to talking the principle of how are you showing up for your business every single day. I think my team must be sick of me because that is my byline every day, but I want to know. If this is a business and you are expecting a result from it, again, go back to the ATM. You cannot draw money from an empty ATM. When is the last time you deposited into the ATM in order to go and withdraw the funds as well? And then I said, sell daily and secure your orders. Now, these 5 points, it wasn't just about my team seeing them on this banner for the first time and knowing what to do. It was about using these 5 key points the entire month in my training, in my messaging, in my reinforcing the simple message of share honey wherever you go. I would make that, okay, Wednesday wins. Today I'm winning. Picture, I've got my handbag, I've got my shoes. That's my win. What are you doing? So I kept the 5 core messages the same. I didn't introduce new training. I didn't go into a quality care guarantee session. I went through what seeds am I planting now that I can water now, that by the end of the month, the harvest will come. It's simple, but it's only as simple as we keep it, and it's only as big as we make it. And then another thing I want to say to you is celebrating the wins has been probably one of the biggest things that I feel I've lost in my team was taking the time to genuinely go and celebrate those wins. And sometimes we've got our own skewed perspective in our mind that a win has got to be a 10,000 rand sale or it's got to be a new elite entrepreneur. Sometimes it is just that consultant that's come back and secured her first order again. Sometimes it is that consultant that's been on the books for 3 months and has just come with a little collagen order. We want her, we need her, she is welcome, we want to keep her. How do we do that? We celebrate the wins. So I'm a big believer, and I think part of manifestation was I did all of these banners before October started because I told myself, you're not, there's no ways that you can't achieve this 100,000 Rand. First of all, if you don't, you should probably resign because you're going to be so embarrassed that as national sales, you can't achieve a goal you're pushing everybody else to do. But second of all, like, believe it and act as if. So in that month of October, when it arrived, people started talking to me and said, "Oh, hello, Miss 100,000." And I said, "Yes, you're correct. Yes, you are correct." Because I'm training my brain to receive what I wanted to achieve. And then, okay, this obviously wasn't 3 years ago, but when I last screenshotted it, it was. I still remember just a girl with a plan who decided to go for it. Welcome to the 100,000 Rand Club team. We made it. And that was the little celebration I had with one of my best friends. We went to the fanciest little hotel. I spent my money before I earned it. It's terrible. But I definitely did get paid after that month, so it was fun. But again, it was prepping myself for the success that I wanted, living in it, acting as if, showing up, and doing the work that needed to be done. So as we end the session and before we open for any questions or anything else I know Corné will want to add, I just want to say is be intentional about your harvest. And the harvest is not the intentional part. It's planting the seeds with intention. You cannot wish for daisies if you've planted tomatoes. You may be amazing, but I've never heard anybody who's been able to do that as well. Your seeds will not grow overnight, which is why it is so important for you to be intentional about how, when, and why you are planting. Because whatever you've planted still needs time to grow. So make sure it's the right seedlings, it's in the right spot, so that every little bit of effort you put on, every water, every soil, every sunlight, is the right effort to get it to grow to where it needs to be. You have to have patience in what you are doing. There is no such thing as implementing this 100,000 Rand plan and seeing 50,000 Rand sales by tomorrow. But it is the concept and the building of the plan that is going to get you to where you need to be. Make sure you're planting your seeds daily. Make sure you're watering them daily. If your neighbor's grass is greener, say well done and focus on your grass. It's got nothing to do with you. Wherever you plant your seeds this month, I want you to really, really spend some good time focused on tracking your habits, tracking what works, tracking what doesn't work. It's the same as a diet. If you knew what to eat and what not to eat, wouldn't that make it so much easier to lose weight? Same as your business. If you knew where to spend your time and where not to spend your time, you would know exactly where to put the most energy to get your rewards. And on that note, I'm going to thank you for the session and hand you over to Corné.
Yes, this is absolutely, I can remember this so clearly. And it's really what Gary did. He just bowled her out for a 6. I mean, we all spoke about it before she knew she committed to this publicly. And actually, when she said that on Saturday at the Honey Heart event, I also came out and I said to her, but you know what, that's going to be my message. So I even started out speaking to everybody. And I'm saying to them, listen, I have taken on this task and I need you. I need you to market for me. I need you to get a client for me. I don't care if you've never sold anything in your life before. I need you to join a team. Tell me where you're at. I'll put you in any team. And if you're buying a present, can it please be honey?
Yeah.
Can it please be honey? And I'm telling you, I get people at this stage that puts their hand up, which I'm like, really? You? Okay. Even yesterday at Dione's birthday, my sister-in-law's, what would now be Dione's niece or cousin or something like that, she comes and she says, "What, Tannie, ek het besluit, I'm going to sell honey." I'm like, really? Okay. So that has been my talk as well. And I'm speaking it to everybody. I think the one thing that we tend to do is I think we're scared to put ourselves out there.
Yeah.
And for me, even that's very much the same. I'm like, for how many people do I actually tell them to what extent am I in this? Or do I allow them to misunderstand that I'm still just at honey? And I think inside of that is the part that Terence said way in the beginning this morning. She said, my energy was different. And I think if we can change our energy to that, I am all in. This is like there's no turning back. We burnt the bridge. We've got a one-way ticket. And I think that is what changes the whole energy is when you are 100% all in on that. So I just have to say to you that our sales are definitely creeping up. I am obviously keeping, if you think know your numbers is just the thing for you, you must see know your numbers here. There are certain numbers that I want to know every morning. I don't care if they changed by 2 or 200. I want to know them. And I am already seeing that increase in daily numbers happening. If I look month on month, day on day, all those kind of things, that is what I'm looking at. Sorry, I've got this beautiful sinus little thing with me today. There was another thing that I wanted to say. What was the other thing?
I also had one last thing when you are done.
Okay, please, you go. I'm going to get my brain quickly.
Okay. I forgot to mention that. So I ran the business section at the Heart of Honey event, and it was quite an in-depth session, and I had a lot of feedback. And so rather, instead of just sending out the notes on Monday after the conference and giving everyone a chance to just read it, I'm actually going to break these sessions down into 3 Zoom sessions that I'm going to open to elite entrepreneurs and team leaders. I'm throwing this question out wildly, and Kona, you're allowed to shout at me and tell me to factor this in better, but would it not be right to open it for consultants as well? Is the Zoom license open for it? I just think that I know there's lots of consultants in the business that for whatever reason, they want more, they want to see more, but they don't often reach out to their leaders for whatever reason. It sometimes has nothing to do with us. But I think these sessions are freely available. They have a huge amount of worth to them, and they talk about the fundamentals of our business. And the first one is your network is your net worth, building your power base. So if Corne, if you're happy to open it up to consultants,
I'm definitely not got a problem with that at all. I think there's a lot of consultants lurking in the dark, waiting for an opportunity, which is exactly what we offer. We offer an opportunity. I think the one thing I am going to say is that our package allows us on 100 people. So it's 100 that will come in. Thereafter, the next group. So everybody that came in after Feroza will then, well, there will be 99 spots left after Feroza is in. And then the rest
she'll be in first,
on the recording then obviously afterwards. Absolutely no problem.
Okay, so I think we do that. I think we build a bit of urgency around it. So this first session is going to take place on Thursday this week. It's not going to be an hour session. I'm going to do short, sharp 40-minute sessions. I really want it to be as basic as it is. Like when I took you through that 100,000 Rand plan, I want the person on the other side to go, oh, I haven't been thinking I can do this. So that was the last thing I wanted to add on, but I'll send that Zoom link and that invite after the session. So Corne, I don't know if that helped you get your last thought back, but that was what I had.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what we need to do. And I also would like us to start having these conversations down in your team. I think it's so important. You know, at the Honey Heart Day, one of the ladies came up to me and Candace right after we had like a body break. And she came up with a list of questions, at which I frowned upon the list of questions because I thought, yes, but we've answered those questions somewhere in our communication. And when I asked her who a team leader was and this and that, and I realized that a lot of you are not communicating to your elite entrepreneur. Now, I would look at my elite entrepreneur group, and I would know that if I do a message out on them, I know exactly which is the 3 that's going to listen to me. So pull those 3 in and speak to them and make sure that they understand and know the direction. Pull in because it's the number of a third. You know, if you've got 10 people, 3 is going to listen to your message. Okay. The other 3 will listen next week and the other 3 will never listen. So pull this whole plan of 100, this 100,000 Rand business plan. Pull that in with your top 3 sales consultants or a top third. And then with your top third elite entrepreneurs. And it doesn't matter if that number is 1. Because 1 is also a number. I also remind people that the day I had my very first team meeting, I had 10 people in my team at that stage. They all stayed literally in the same area as I did. We never recruited somebody outside even your street at that stage. And one pitched. One. And in those days, your regional still came to your first team meeting with her husband and then bought like a gift. And there it was, her and him and me and my husband and one sales consultant. Okay. So one is a number, and let's work with those one by ones because it's all we need is one more.
Many sessions we ran with one, with two, with three. And when we ran it for those people, those 1 and 2 or 3 came back the next time because they knew how much value we wanted to impart.
Yes.
That was exactly what they did.
Yes. Okay.
Cool. I think if that is it for the day, if anyone has any questions, comments, the chat box is open for a little bit more. But I think from my side, I just want to wish you a fantastic week. Get that energy up, get your plan going, and a reminder that we are all here to support you. You want to chat through something, you want to call, we are here to do it. Let's chat. Let's not work in different remote offices. It's getting lonely again. I need another event. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody. Stay blessed.